The gate was $3.46 million. The attendance was 16,604. The fight of the night was Green versus Fiziev. And then the performances were so good, we did 3 tonight. So we did Jessica Penne, Vincente, and Miles Johns. They all won $50,000. So congratulations to them. John Morgan.
What's going on? Oh, I might be surprised that Ciryl Gane didn't get a performance bonus. I mean, I think he's got bigger paychecks coming on the way anyway. But
yeah, no, he did have a great performance. That's true. Well, how come we didn't talk about that in there? That was Sean. That's right. Yeah, Ciryl. Fuck it, he gets $50,000 too. There you go. Good job, John Morgan. Get all the credit for that one.
That's funny.
Yeah, that's true. Ciryl Gane should absolutely get the performance.
Yeah, can you talk about what you saw on their night? Because, I mean, we knew he was a great fighter, right? Undefeated, but he was criticized a little bit for his last 2 performances, being too careful, too patient, not engaging enough. Here it seems like he showed a little bit of both sides, right? He was smart and then got it done. I got asked that during press day, and apparently one of the guys was saying that I had said that he was a boring fighter. I don't ever remember saying that. I don't ever remember calling him boring. Listen, if I said it, I'll own it. But I think that this guy has a style. He's a big, powerful, badass heavyweight who moves like a middleweight. You saw tonight what he was able to do to Derek Lewis. Completely shut him down. The punch that I don't know specific numbers, but it was in the hundreds, and Derek was like 3. I mean, he completely shut him down, put on a clinic, looked good doing it, made it look easy against a guy who can turn the lights out with one punch. This kid's super talented, and yeah, listen, when you start getting sucked into listening to people talk about, oh, you're boring and you're this and that, you got to tune that shit out and fight your style and fight the way that you fight. And that's what he did tonight. The other thing that impressed me with him is I was curious to see how he was going to stand up to the pressure of his first big main event. The crowds. It's definitely different. And you're in his backyard. You're in his hometown. So the guy couldn't have shined any more than he did tonight. Yeah, no question. Can you talk about what he means to the company? Now, obviously, France is a new territory. It's finally legal now. Can't necessarily go there right now, but I mean, is that exciting when you get somebody that's a champ from another country? And what does that mean?
What do I always say? Everything in life is about timing. And this kid becomes the heavyweight champion tonight, and we worked long and hard and spent a lot of money to get France done. And here we are.
That's nice. Now, you made it clear, obviously, the next fight is the unification fight. Francis Ngannou is next. Francis came out this week and said it's been radio silence from the UFC. He hasn't heard anything. So
there's nothing to hear. He wasn't fighting this weekend. What was there to hear?
So do you have any idea how when that fight could possibly happen, or how soon you'd like to do it?
Do I ever know the night of the fight, when that fight will happen?
Sometimes, every now and then.
Never. I never know. Yeah, so, ASAP, we'll get it done as soon as it's possible to do.
Just a couple quick ones outside the main event. Jose Aldo just continues to defy Father Time. What do you think about him, and what do you see? I mean, it's obviously a title fight is what he wants. That's not available now, but do you see matchups like a Dillashaw, Cruz, something like that makes sense for him?
Tonight was a very tough fight for him and a dangerous fight, especially if, a guy like Pedro who's ranked number 9, and Jose looked awesome tonight. Looked so good tonight. I thought that when I saw him at the press conference, he looked super skinny to me, when he was cutting, but physically he looked unbelievable tonight. He was ripped to shreds like back in the day when he was a champ, and he had the cardio, speed, the leg kicks again. I mean, he looked nasty tonight.
Last one I want to ask you about was Luque. He's kind of we've had this deep welterweight division, but he hasn't really been in that conversation with like the Edwards, the Covington, the Masvidal. He hasn't been there. Do you feel after tonight he deserves to be in those same conversations?
Well, he is now. You can't talk without talking about him now. First of all, that kid is fun to watch. When he beat Woodley, Woodley's former world champ, but Woodley hadn't won a fight in 3 years. You know what I mean? He beat Woodley. Okay. Tonight, not only did he beat Michael Chiesa, but when he went for that choke, I was like, why are you trying to submit Michael Chiesa? Get back up on your feet and whatever. And he got it, and he did it. I love to watch that kid fight. He's exciting. He's a killer. And I look forward to what's next for him. And yes, you can't talk about all the top guys in the world without talking about Luke Gane now.
Dana, there's no way you could have scripted this. On your right. There's no way you could have scripted this. Derek Lewis had no reason fighting Ciryl Gane. The guy that he should have fought was Francis Ngannou. Ciryl Gane and Francis Ngannou were teammates. Now Gane is the interim. And when you make this heavyweight unification, it's between two former teammates where there's been some bad blood in there when Ngannou left their camp. There's no way you could have scripted this. I mean, this works perfectly in your
Thank you,
opinion,
sir.
right? I'm asking. It works
I could not agree with you more. You are correct.
Dana.
Great. It's badass. And what I love is when we were going into this fight, I was telling everybody, and it's absolutely true, you have two of the best possible heavyweights in the world fighting each other. You have the guy who beat Francis Ngannou, right? And a guy who's undefeated with the whole backstory that you just said, right? This fight got a lot of heat, created a lot of interest. Ciryl Gane goes out tonight. He looks incredible. Like he said earlier, we've been working a long time on getting France open. France is open now, and we just got a TV deal in France, and here we are. And now the two, what you always want to do when you either build fighters, build fights, or put on fights is you want to have the best possible guys fighting each other that you possibly can. It doesn't get any better than this. You couldn't write it. You couldn't script it. Fucking Vince couldn't have wrote a better script for this whole thing. It's beautiful, and I agree with you, sir. And I'm glad you noticed.
Last one. Do you think Derek Lewis, the pressure was too much for him?
No.
Because when he came out, though, he looked a little tensed.
Ciryl Gane was too much for him. Ciryl Gane moves like a middleweight. His footwork is unbelievable. This guy stays on his toes the whole time, stays on the outside and picks you apart. He is a very talented fighter. And he's also, his fight IQ is through the roof. This guy's the real deal. Him and Francis is a badass heavyweight fight.
Great script.
Yep.
Dana over here. What's up, buddy?
How are you?
So we talked about Francis, Derek Lewis. You hadn't said nothing about Mr. Jones. Is he just the odd man out? Are you calling his phone?
He's not fighting until next year. It's 2021, my brother. He's not fighting until 22. So I'm not even thinking about him until 22.
Give some insight on Tisha Torres' performance. She's had the rough 2020, and she's came back strong. She was putting them hands on her today.
Yeah, no, let me tell you what. I thought Tisha was going to come out and try to push her against the fence. And, she came out, guns a-blazing. She looked better tonight than she's ever looked in any of her fights she's ever had. She looked incredible tonight. She put on a great performance.
Y'all usually don't go to places 2 times in 1 year. What is it about Houston, Texas that draws y'all? Y'all had 2 crazy cards here, 2 crazy crowds, and it just seems like it works. UFC in Houston.
Yeah, it's back-to-back sellouts here. What isn't to like about Houston? You know, the fans here are great. I love everything about the city, and with what's going on in the world right now, the easiest places to put on events are Texas and Florida. So. See what happens.
Of course, I know you're not a doctor or anything. Have y'all looked at past September for doing fights or anything like that on the pay-per-view cards? Are y'all still going over to Abu Dhabi?
I go on vacation tonight, and then when I get back, I'm planning my trip to Abu Dhabi.
Dana, down here to your right.
Hi.
I'm interrupting.
Oh, right. Hey, yeah, gotcha.
Okay.
There you go. Sorry about that. You talked about Houston, Texas, Dana. I'm sorry, buddy.
Get you next. That's all right. I'll get him next. Go ahead.
What about talking about Paris? We got a French champion now, and Francis Ngannou used to practice and train in France, and even though he's from Cameroon, he lived in France. Can we expect a big championship between Francis Ngannou and Ciryl Gane in Paris?
You can only hope so. Like this gentleman and I were just discussing, it couldn't play out any better than it has. The only kink in the whole perfect story is the crazy shit that's going on in the world right now. So I don't know. In the perfect script, yes, we go to France and we do that fight there. That would be amazing. But I don't know. We'll have to see how it plays out.
How important is it to you and the UFC to have Ciryl Gane and Francis Ngannou that are not US and that could help develop the image of the UFC and the MMA around the world?
What's the question?
How important is it to you?
That's what we've been working on for all these years. You know, we've been working to go into these different countries. If you look at what Conor McGregor did for Europe, you know, and other parts of which what Francis and Ciryl will do for France and Africa and many other places. So, yes, it's very important to us.
I know it's pretty specific, and it will be my last question. But what about Africa? Can you expect a big fight and a big event in Africa?
You know, I guarantee you, I can do Florida and Texas. Okay, Florida and Texas, I can do for the next however many years. I don't know about anywhere else right now. So we'll see. But yes, provided everything goes right, I would love to do a fight now. To be honest with you, my whole life, I've always dreamt of doing a fight in Africa. I've always wanted to do it. So that will be a big one and another monumental moment in my life.
All right. Do you see Gane as almost representation of the evolution of MMA? A heavyweight who can move like that, who is that tactical. On top of that, he was born in France. I mean, a heavyweight at that level, born in France. I mean, even like 5 years ago, that seemed like it would be impossible.
Well, I don't know if he's the evolution, but you know, he's a freak athlete. I mean, every once in a while, you'll come across freaks in different weight classes, and he's definitely one of those guys. I mean, he's a big, powerful dude. I mean, when you look at him, and when he walked into the octagon tonight, I was like, holy shit. Well, when I was doing the stare downs with these guys, I mean, let's fucking be honest here.
You weren't doing nothing.
Yeah, I was doing nothing. You know, if that decided to go wrong, I'd ended up in the 6th row of the stands, not the floor. They would have ragdolled me into the. I can't explain to you in words the power. When I was in between these guys, it's just like very humbling, man. Two seriously powerful human beings. And when you look at Ciryl Gane and walked in tonight, and you look at the way that guy moves on his feet, we're in the 3rd round, and he's moving in the 3rd round like he moved in the 1st round. His cardio is unbelievable. His footwork is unbelievable. He's a freak of nature athlete.
And then, to have someone like him at that level, training for such a short period of time from France, a place that only got legalized for MMA last year. I mean, it's kind of a, like you said, timing earlier. It's almost impossible to imagine someone that good being born in France and kind of rising that so quickly, right? Yeah,
but if you look at where they both came from the same coach. You got to start saying, this guy's pretty talented.
Yeah.
The coach, I mean.
Dana done it. I'm curious, down in front of you. Obviously, a big part of this story for the fight between Francis and Ciryl is going to be the fact they used to train together. Did you ever hear anything about their sparring sessions that gives you an indication of what that fight could look like?
I never did. I just saw that Brett Okamoto posted some, some footage of them moving around together. That's all I've seen.
When a fight like this comes together, I can tell you're quite excited about it. Do you start making calls, being like, how does it go?
No, I don't. But I'm super excited about this. It's like this gentleman said earlier. You literally couldn't be played out any better than it was, and this fight had some hype behind it tonight. This fight did good numbers too. So people know who Ciryl Gane is now, and they know the storyline, and I'm sure a lot of people are excited to see this fight now.
Just wanted to ask you one more question about the Bobby Green, Rafael Fiziev fight. Does that Fiziev look like the next sort of potential big star at lightweight? He's such an exciting fighter.
Yeah, I mean, that fight was awesome, Bobby Green. I mean, when we made that fight, I mean, that's one of my if you don't know, now you know this week, is Bobby Green brings it. This guy's fought everybody, and we expected Fiziev to do what he did tonight. And, the guy has a ton of potential. Tough, durable.
Not a 30-27 card, though. Someone scored it at 30-27.
Yeah, that was bad. Very bad. We'll be talking about that every week, so I mean, that's not going to change. What's up, buddy?
Hey, Dana. excellent night. Just curious, with the performance of Vicente Luque and the way the welterweight division shaping out with the title fight in November, is it safe to say that Leon Edwards is going to have to take another fight before earning the title shot?
I don't know. I don't know right here off the top of my head, but yeah, probably a good idea. I mean, the guy's fought one time in the last 2 years, I think.
And then the last question is, with Stipe Miocic, the next time he enters the octagon, will it be for the title fight?
I don't know. The beautiful thing about this division right now is we have this fight tonight. Now, Francis versus Ciryl, and you got John Jones out there in 2022, and you got Stipe out there still too. So that means there's a lot of fun coming up over the next year and a half.
Dana, right here in the back. You said earlier that Gane, he was just too much for Derek Lewis. I mean, do you think this is something that Derek Lewis could evolve from and maybe close that discrepancy? Like, how much of a discrepancy are we talking about, do you think?
Well, listen, he's one of the best heavyweights in the world. What tonight showed you and showed the rest of the world is how good Ciryl Gane really is. You know what I mean? He made Derek Lewis. Does anybody know the punch stats for real off the top of their head? Anybody? 104 to 8? Damn. So 104 to 8.
Wow.
I mean, what's that tell you? And we all know who Derek Lewis is, and that
Absolutely.
Derek's one of the best in the world. He's been in there with guys that are great athletes, probably much better than him, should have beat him, but he caught him. He caught him with that punch, and he ends up knocking him out. He couldn't do anything in there tonight against Ciryl Gane. That's how good Ciryl Gane is, And if you just tuned in, you never watched MMA before, you'd be like, oh, this athletic guy's beating up on this guy that doesn't look like he belongs in there. But we know that's not the case. We know exactly who Derek Lewis is. And tonight was just Ciryl Gane's coming out party, All the talk about, oh, you're boring or you're this or you're that. Now, that dude is for real. And tonight, you talk about the pressure that he must have been under. Guy's been getting booed for a week. Nobody here likes him. They're chanting USA, yada, yada, yada. He went out there and put on an unbelievable performance. And like I told Mark earlier, he's a freak of nature athlete. This guy's that good.
And then just one more on Song Yadong. I mean, he came out at one point at the presser and said that his opponent looked slow. I mean, he's only 23 years old. What do you make of his performance?
He said his opponent looks what?
Slow.
Slow?
He said Kenny actually looks slow. I mean, he might have said it tongue in cheek, but he's only 23 years old. I mean, where do you see this guy in a couple of years?
I was talking about that to the matchmakers tonight during the fight. This kid's only 23. How good do you think this guy's going to be when he's 27? You know what I mean? Yeah, he's super talented. I agree with you.
Thank you.
Yep.
Hi, Dana.
What's up, buddy?
What is the status of the women's bantamweight division? We talked to Julia Payne tonight. She's hoping for an interim belt.
She's been terrorizing me all week.
Yeah.
We will turn this thing around as soon as possible, and yeah, she's going to get her fight.
Would there be an interim title, or is it
No.
Is it Amanda Nunes? Or
She
nothing?
asked me that too. Yeah,
Okay.
no.
Well, we talked to her.
This is what happened tonight in the heavyweight division compared to what's going on over there in that division is apples and oranges. You can't even compare them. She didn't disagree with that either when I told her they're apples and oranges. Anybody else? Thank you. Yep. What's up?
Give us some insight on that $1 billion streaming deal. I know that's progressive sport. That's big time stuff right there.
Is that what? What's the
The
question?
$1 billion streaming deal that y'all got.
The streaming deal?
Yeah.
What about it?
How that put y'all up there with the big boys with the big TV deal that people. I'm pretty sure about 4 or 5 years ago you were wanting this. It's kind of, I'm gonna say it's a dream come true, but I'm pretty sure it's been on your priority list.
Well, there's I say it to you guys every week. This sport's on fire right now, man. I mean, if you look at what we've done through the pandemic and then coming out of the pandemic, the sport just keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger. Yeah, it's awesome. It's all good, man. And once everything starts to open up again and get back to normal, I'm looking forward to all the different things that are possible with this sport right now, where we're going, where we're headed. I mean, It's incredible, and it's good for all of us. It's good for you, it's good for me, and it's obviously incredible for the fighters. Thank you, guys. Have a good night.